Welcome to Cobra Kai Day. I honestly had this idea for a few years back. Wrote an awful lot of scripts while going over the series. I've actually scripted up to Season 5. Season 6 not quite out yet, the final season. Before we get to that, we of course have to talk about the movies that predate said series, naturally beginning with the 1984 classic. 89 on Rotten Tomatoes last I looked. This rating would go down and go down fast for Part 2 and Part 3. I think we all as kids sympathized with Daniel LaRusso getting bullied, scrawny looking kid you can't help but root for. But even before Cobra Kai, there was a certain sect of YouTubers that would really dissect this movie and show that Daniel does a lot of sketchy shit, which paints him as not so noble. With that said, welcome to my review of The Karate Kid. Movie opens in Newark, New Jersey. Neighbor kids waving by to a moving car, and I guess that's all of Newark. No way they drove all the way from there to Cal. Road trip. Daniel is none too happy to have moved here. And 5 minutes of movie is already on his first infraction. He kicks down and knocks over one of the other apartment tenants on the other side. Oops. I did not know that Daniel already knew karate at the Y. At least that's what he tells the guy he knocked down after some words. Place they moved into? Already a crap hole, green water in the swimming pool, broken faucet. But Ma LaRusso got a new job here and is hopeful. First meeting with Mr. Miyagi. Trying to catch a fly with chopsticks. Daniel barged in looking like he's looking for the maintenance guy. Then backs down as Miyagi tells him, after. He tries to ask about the broken faucet. I guess Daniel had some schmaltz to him when he knocked that guy over because he's invited to a party by that guy. Some fun in the sun, playing soccer at the beach. It's Elizabeth Shue. Good God! This is Allie. Daniel not so smoothly. Eyes her. The fellas talk Daniel, hey, make a move. In comes our antagonist, Johnny Lawrence, the jealous ex who arrives via motorcycle. Upset, breaks the radio Allie had. Daniel tries to pick it up and is involved in a fight that Johnny started. Yeah. I wasn't Daniel. This is why I wanted to review these first. No revisionist history from either side later in the Cobra Kai series. Daniel managed to get a shot in, but ultimately gets his ass kicked. And his friends bail. So much for that. Allie tries to help him up, but Daniel tells her to leave him be. Come the morning, Ma sees Daniel try to bail real quick with sunglasses on, covering up the real shiner Johnny gave him. First day of school, it's a cruel, cruel, cruel summer. Allie with an I. See, again, I thought it was, like, ally. They talk more. She's sorry about what happened. Of course, she's at the school, as is Johnny and his fellow Cobra Kais, who I think at gym class outside soccer trip, Danny quite blatantly retaliates with a tackle, and the coach tells Danny to boot it. Ref probably only saw the fight itself, but yeah, Daniel got shitted there. Miyagi arrives to fix the faucet as Danny practices. Asks Daniel what happened to your eye. He says, I fell off my bike. The same story he told Ma after she saw the eye. Miyagi says, lucky you didn't break hand. Yeah, fooling the mom, even that's debatable. Mr. Miyagi? Nope. Back at school, Allie with an eye, clearly interested in Daniel always. Oh, she's always starting the conversation. Even asking around, getting info that he was from Newark before coming here. Tells him for weeks her and Johnny broke it off. Probably due to him being all karate for brains. But she never explicitly says why they broke up. Later that day, Daniel spots a karate dojo. Turns out to be the Cobra Kai dojo. We get our first glimpse of the sensei of that dojo, Vietnam veteran John Kreese. Already the drill sergeant of the place. What do we study? The way of self-defense, sir. And what is that way? Strike first, strike hard, no mercy, sir. It's great they established the 3 rules of Cobra Kai. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Daniel spots Johnny leading the class doing practice ki punches and goes, well, I ain't learning karate here. Meets with his ma at a nearby restaurant on the other side of the street. As the Cobra Kai's after class, they kind of get in and they're like standing outside the place and I guess can listen in on their kind of conversation because they they find out that he's from Newark for whatever reason. Or word just travels fast, I guess. And we get Cobra Kai's on motorcycles. Cobra Kai on motorcycles! Cobra Kai's on motor... They veer him off, and somehow Daniel flips over his bike and scrapes his head. Yeah, pretty visible bleed in there. Mom arrives home as Daniel's pissed off, just trashing his bike, just done with everything. Angry his karate's not good enough to defend himself, and at Ma for bringing him here without really asking how he felt. Even next day blows off Allie when he spots the Kais all while she's all, hey, this is my friend, want to come to the arcade with us? He bails. These guys do seem smart enough to not just boot on Daniel right then and there. Gotta keep that public image, I guess. Daniel back at the apartment says, oh, hey, somebody fixed my bike. Daniel thanks Miyagi. He knew it was the handyman around this place. Their second meeting goes a little bit better, getting talk about his bonsai trees, even trusting Danny, hey, try to trim one. Close your eyes and make a mental picture of how you want the tree to look. Ma arrives and gets a tree as a gift. The Halloween school dance coming up, Miyagi's all, why aren't you going? Daniel's all, yeah, if I had a costume like the Invisible Man, I'd go. Inspiration strikes. Love this costume. This full shower with Minnie Mouse curtain. It's red with white dots. Shower bead with the little tinsel coming out of it. Really inventive stuff. Allie somehow knows that's Daniel under there. They talk some more. She's all, Johnny thinks he can do whatever he wants. I like to see him get a taste of his own medicine, and I want to be there when it happens. Daniel's all, yeah, me too. What goes around comes around. Asshole in a chicken costume starts egging people, Daniel included, so he's got to wash that off in the school bathroom. Overhere's the Kais dressed as skeletons chatting. Johnny's like, I'll be with y'all in a minute. Rolling a doobie. That stuff doesn't look medicinal. If what we know now of marijuana than we did in the 80s, it might mellow his ass out. Daniel takes this as an opportunity to grab a hose and spray him. Daniel races like mad, telling Allie, it's coming around. More evidence of LaRusso being the true villain, causing a fender bender as he runs out of the dance and into the street. Kai's in hot pursuit. Allie even trips Johnny as he runs past, and I think I hear the sound of bones rattling as they fall. I think they put that in the movie. That's some real good makeup on Johnny to not so much as a drop-off with that sudden burst of hose. Quick drying, skeleton. But yeah, give the police incentive to kick your ass again. Bobby of the Kais is the good cop. Hey, leave him alone, he's had enough. Johnny preaching the enemy deserves no mercy. And the first of a small ongoing trend of Miyagi arriving to kick ass and save Daniel-san from the numbers game. First time I think he calls him that too. Daniel-san. Back home, Miyagi reveals, in Okinawa, all Miyagi know two things, fishing and karate. Karate comes from 16th century China called te, or hand. Miyagi ancestors took that on, made it karate, empty hand. Daniel's like, could you teach me? Miyagi wants it cleared to not do that as revenge. Goes on to say there's no such thing as a bad student, just bad teacher. First doesn't want to get involved with Daniel's issue, but he does sense Daniel's frustrations about going this alone to talk with the sensei of the school to try and get things straightened out. And he's like, alright, I'll go with you. Daniel thinks Miyagi before being corrected about the hard G, Miyagi. Daniel asks, what kind of belt do you have? Miyagi's canvas, JCPenney, $3.90. In Okinawa, belt means you don't need rope to hold up your pants. Tells him karate is in the heart and mind, not the diaphragm? He points to his emotional content. In the morning, asks Daniel to drive, neither person having a license to do, so add that to the list of infractions on Daniel. I'm sure there's a drinking game somewhere. So they arrive at the dojo, sees Sensei Cruz is just as intense, if not more, than his students. We do not train to be merciful. Mercy is for the weak. Here, on the street, in competition, a man confronts you, he is the enemy. An enemy deserves no mercy. Miyagi explains what really went down. 1-1, no problem. 5-1, too much to ask anybody. Kreese takes this to be a challenge showing up at his dojo unannounced. So he tells his men to square up, and Miyagi's all, too much advantage, this is your dojo. He sees what happens to be the All Valley Karate Tournament ad behind him. Says we'll have it done there. Also asks Kreese to have his students leave Daniel alone so he can train proper. Kreese agrees, but warns Miyagi not to pull a fast one. Both keeping an eye on one another as Miyagi slowly makes his way out of the dojo. Now we go away from the apartment and to Miyagi's house. Thinking you win, you earn respect, the bullying stops. Telling Daniel in so many words, just don't half-ass my teachings. I say you do. No questions. Wax on right hand, wax off left hand. Breathe in through the nose and out the mouth. Daniel's asking, where'd all these cars come from? Miyagi responds, Detroit! Dan finishes and finds Miyagi at the house, sleeping. New arrangement has Daniel acting all cocky around the Kais at school with the no beating up arrangement pre-tournament, but it does give him the courage and incentive to ask Allie out finally. Meeting the rich parents and all while the LaRusso car stalls and they get out to, we gotta push it. Maybe they did drive it all the way. True, jeez. They get to the aforementioned arcade, have a good time. When it's time for Malarusa to pick up Allie and Daniel, the Kai show up in John's car. They got some of Allie's friends, too, who ask, you want to go to the hills with us tonight? Allie's all, nah, it's okay, I'm good. Kai's verbal jab seeing Malarusa pull up. He's, Danny can come too if his mommy's okay with it, and drives off. And this somehow has Daniel getting mad at Allie on this. Saying, yeah, you could have gone if you wanted to. Did one of those beatings knock you into dipshit or something? Where'd that come from? Anyway, more Miyagi stuff. Sand the floor, circular motions, not up and down. Day after manages to see as good as Miyagi is, he still never caught a fly with a chopstick. A man who can catch a fly with a chopstick can accomplish anything. Daniel gets the catch, Miyagi says. Beginner's luck. Now accomplish paint fence. Long strokes, up and down, small boards with the left, big boards with the right. Always the same afterwards when Daniel finishes at night. Get rest, come back tomorrow, 6 a.m. Miyagi's not there tomorrow, he went fishing, note on the door. Paint the fence, alternate hands, side to side. Daniel does that, but Miyagi returns from his fishing at night. Dan has had it with all the work. I've been you goddamn slave for 4 days, haven't learned a thing. Can't even move his arm after all of it, all tensed up. Miyagi does his rub palms together and fixes that. Now show me everything you've learned, and yeah, a bewildered Daniel just learned karate off that. And learned fast. Most important part of learning any martial art or just fighting in general, learn not to get hit. You gotta learn defense first before you can learn offense. So now we go to the beach beginning, more training. Now you gotta learn balance. Do these kicks while waves of the ocean wash over. Seeing Miyagi atop a post doing the crane kick. If done correctly, no defense. Some drunkards have their beer bottles atop Miyagi's car as they are about to head home. Ask them, please remove these bottles. Drunkards all, do it yourself, Mr. Moto. Who's Mr. Moto? I see where Art of Fighting gets its bottle cut minigame from. Pew, 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 pew. Perfect cut. They don't want none to remove the bottles. I was like, okay, don't hurt us. When asked how he did that by Daniel, Miyagi's like, don't know. First time. Allie must be hopelessly in love to give Daniel another chance. She's having a dinner party, but she'll meet with Daniel after that. More teaching balance. Daniel standing atop a fishing boat gets the understanding that you train in karate so you don't have to fight. That's where he gets dumped out of into the lake. Meanwhile, at the dinner party, Allie's parents set up Johnny with Allie, the dad none too thrilled about, quote, that boy from Reseda. Daniel arrives like, what's keeping Allie? Spots Johnny spots him, so he kisses Allie. She attacks him, but Daniel missed that, and when he ran off, clang, 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 bumps into some chef and is the fool covered in some sauce. Laughingstock runs off and misses Allie. Straight up sock Johnny in the mouth. I know this movie's called The Karate Kid, but that was no empty hand she hit him with. No kata, all 10. So Daniel's thoroughly embarrassed, rides his bike back to Miyagi, drinking to his late wife. Soused to the gills and in his military uniform. Banzai! That's where they get that. Regret to inform, complications at birth. No doctor came at time. Daniel reading a nearby letter Miyagi had out. He fought against the Germans as a sergeant. American citizen, hey. I remember he lost his wife, but a son too. Wow. More training after this. Learns more balance, learns how to... throw your whole body into your punches, not just your fist itself. That's how you're going to break a wrist or something like that. Daniel's birthday, he gets his new karate gi for the tournament, and a pick of the cars Miyagi has in his backyard. Daniel does have a license for this time, so it's, you don't have to drink on this one. Spots the small photo booth picture of him and Ali. Miyagi tells him, I taught you balance. That's not just for karate, that's life. Now go and find your balance. Banzai! Back in the arcade, figures he'd find Ali, and I guess there was some argument, like maybe a deleted scene I missed, where you thought, we're too different, wouldn't get along well, and then also upset thinking Ali used him or Johnny to get back at him. But Ali's the one who's all distant and gets away from Daniel. That's why I think there's a deleted scene. I'm like, why is she upset? Her friend, the true hero of this story, in so many words... She doesn't even like what's his name. And I'm like, yeah, she hung out with you more in one date than all movie with Johnny from what I saw. You missed the thrilling conclusion. Her right hook. She didn't sprain her wrist doing her nails. Daniel's like, why didn't she say anything? Friend says she shouldn't have to. Yeah, young Bobby Renoa didn't quite get this. Me now thinking, again, was there a deleted scene I missed where Daniel just blows Ali off once and for all before she can explain at school what happened at the dance, the setup to Johnny? Say all upset and breaks her heart. I was just like, everyone's piling on the Jersey kid. What's up? But with age comes that empathy to try and look at it from multiple angles than just the pro tag, which I think is where the YouTube idea of Daniel LaRusso's the real villain of the Karate Kid spawns from. They, of course, make up so she, along with Ma LaRusso, can be the cheering section for the tournament. And Miyagi's got to do a little devious work of his own just to get Daniel in. Because the guy at the sign-in desk is all brown belts or higher, brown being one color short of black belts. Miyagi tells the guy getting the names at the desks that it's Miyagi, while Ali swipes a black belt from a nearby bag. Hope anyone was looking for that. Hey, where'd all my spare black belts go? I wonder if that ever got lampshaded by a Family Guy skit or something like that. Daniel gets hassled a bit more in the locker room by the Cobra Kais led by who looks like even more of a killer than Johnny in Dutch. You don't get a name like that in the 80s if you aren't a Stone Cold Killer. Or maybe a member of G.I. Joe. Thanks, Dutch. Now we know. He's got the crazy eyes, man. First time for both student and teacher. Yeah, neither have competed. Tournament montage. Da, da, da. Ba, ba, ba. Bobby Brown. That's the kid's real name. Named like Bobby Brown, but hair like 80s Mark Hamill. Call back to him being the, no, Johnny, leave him alone. Always the sensible one, he's sometimes take his ass out, and I can't do that, I'll be disqualified. He thinks Chris is he's doing better than I thought he would. Take him out. So yeah, mirroring back to what Miyagi said, no such thing as a bad student, only a bad teacher. Bobby kicks him in the leg, which is not allowed in the tournament. Ali, earlier in the movie, even tells Daniel, okay, everything above the belt's a point. Mom and Ali concerned Miyagi saying, you've got nothing left to prove. And this convo is why I still side with Daniel somewhat, because we both agree that, if it ends this way, I haven't proved a thing. Nothing's over. Those karate talks are going to hang this over Daniel all of high school. I can't have balance that way. Miyagi tells Daniel, close your eyes. Does his palm trick. Now I look at that with adult eyes thinking, is that him prepping Or is that like a sigh of exasperation, like, some people just gotta learn the hard way? Or is it, I don't want my karate used this way, but a lot can be interpreted from just, that's why this movie rules. But yeah, Daniel LaRusso's gonna fight. 3 points to win this. Daniel gets the first 2, and we get the sweep the leg from Cruz. Also the get him a body bag, yeah, from Tommy. Somehow Johnny's punch to the face, no point. Crane kick to the face is the third. I don't know, maybe it was a closed fist, not very karate. So that wouldn't work out. Anyway, movie over. I guess that crane kick knocked Johnny loose a little bit. Just like, oh yeah, here you go. You earned this. Even got Johnny to come around after that one. He's like, oh, okay, Danny, you're tough, man. Maybe not in so many words, but at that moment. And now we go to the part of the review like I did all those video game movie reviews. And talk about 4 things, the best and worst characters and the best and worst moments. Kind of slim pickings for the first movie, but best character, I'll throw Allie's best friend sticking up for her here. That's in a non-karate way. Karate way, Miyagi. A laugh-out moment from me or two just watching this again with more adult eyes on it instead of Babby me being all, karate, yay! Worst character. If she were more fleshed out, maybe I could see why the move even happened, but yeah, I'm throwing in Ma LaRusso here. You sometimes forget she's even in this movie most times. She was an honest surprise to see in Cobra Kai for an episode, but yeah, they kind of phase her out real quick for Miyagi. Hell, she's gone for most of the movie only to come back at the end to check on her son. If you missed the first act like I did when I first saw it, you'd assume, but you would have no idea. Yeah, not big thinkers, these LaRussos, like Mother Lakes. Seriously, why were you pissed at Allie for something the Cobra Kais did? Her friends arguably assholes for going with, but they don't know the whole story. I'm really deep diving into this for the best moment. Again, looking at it through adult eyes and really analyzing it, but with the chopstick catching, that happens in between training when Daniel gets one. Was this a sort of way of less beginner's luck and more hidden potential? He learns pretty fast those defensive moves after just one showing. Blocks everything Miyagi has to throw at him. Just cho. I'm like, wow. I mean, what's the length of time for the tournament to get ready for that? And was able to win. And the crane kick. Of course the crane kick. That said, for a power off moment, what was your plan to get Johnny? That's your big retaliation? Love makes you stupid. I don't know, the original Philly kid in me was like, water? Praying would be one thing, revenge is eye for an eye. Granted, none of my bullies were ever karate experts, so... And with a madman like Chris calling the shots, thing would escalate real quick, which the other movies, and especially the series, would go on to capture in great detail. But yeah, it's just, the LaRussos for 3 out of 4 of those moments. But yeah, that's just one of the many examples of actions having consequences that, the shower thing, and, well, it wasn't the shower, it was the hose. I keep saying shower because it's the costume. Who showered him with water, so... Again, that makeup held up beautifully. But it mirrors all back to why not fighting is the way. Even Miyagi of the movie was like, there's always someone better. Just the overall arrogance, I guess, is the power-off moment. The truce gets called and he's all, hey, has the arm my handyman jacked up last night after I sprayed your boy with water, risking electrocution with his Sony Walkman. Just neener. You don't escalate a fight, you end it. I think that's what they both realized, Daniel and Miyagi. I gotta win this tournament to earn their respect, or at least get them to think twice about starting shit. Sometimes you gotta fight back once to ensure you don't get into a fight always. So 2 years later, Miyagi has business to settle back home in Okinawa and brings Daniel along for the Karate Kid Part 2. Join me for that review next time, won't you? Until then, take care, and thanks for watching.